Welcome, guys, to the Fight Algorithm with me and Aaron. We are sorry for our absence. We have recorded episodes recently that just didn't record, and we couldn't recover the files. And then it took us an hour to get it to cooperate today. So we are rearing to get this going. Rolling my eyes.
No
Okay.
kidding.
So we're going to start off with Aaron talking about what he observed from UFC Embedded.
Okay, so from the embedded, we found out that Strickland and Duplessis are actually they're not even in a what's it called? Not even in a beef or anything. It's kind of just more of just staged, all that stuff. Hell, I even saw them shake hands, tell each other, "Hey, like good luck to you, good luck to you." Like it's all good. Strickland, he's good to go. If anything, he wants it to just be a fight. He doesn't care about winning. Nothing more so, yes or no. But Duplessis, he's in a good role for himself too. Hear from his coaches. His coaches are telling him, no, yeah, he's ready. Strickland, same thing. Strickland's ready. We'll have to see what these two, because with Strickland can go for rounds upon rounds. He practices rounds upon rounds. So when people go up against Strickland, they're going to have a hard time keeping up with him because he doesn't deplete. He does not deplete his energy first or second round. If anything, he'll go up to first round, he'll go up to second round, and then eventually it'll kind of just start kicking into him um, pretty much at the end of the every single fucking round that he's done. Um, but if anything, with Duplessis, I don't know too much on Plessy, but I know that he's definitely ready. He's got his confidence. He's made the weight. He's done all the stuff that he needs to do. He was kind of just more he was kind of focusing on more of the striking, I would say. Definitely more of the striking. And then upon that, everything else was just great for those two. For the two women, Myra and Pennington. Pennington, she had a rough time. There wasn't a whole lot of on Pennington, not a whole lot of stuff on embedded on her, but just the part where she lost her luggage, and then she didn't eat that whole day where she came to Toronto. Um, so kind of just bummed out for her. She lost her luggage, which I did kind of feel bad. But other than that, I didn't find anything on Pennington uh, towards her what's it called, training, coaches, nothing towards that, other than her with her interview. She said that Myra has been talking a whole lot, but Pennington, she keeps her mouth shut and kind of just puts her test to the ring. She puts everything into the ring. She doesn't like to talk, you know, at all. She literally did not want to say anything to her in person nor on media. She did not want any part of it, of the drama. But with Myra is definitely the one who likes to put in, drama. But I mean, it's for the UFC. It's for commentary. It's, for people to just like, whoa, but with Myra, she's doing very, very well. She's got her like personal trainer with her. She's got her personal masseuse with her. So she's doing very, very well. She's very open with her body, pretty much. She wants to just make her body just feel good overall. And so I completely 100% root for her in that area. But other than that, she is definitely ready. She doesn't look scared at all. She's definitely nervous. I'll tell you that. She is definitely nervous. I can tell from the tone, her voice, her moving a little bit. Even she looks stiff. She looks definitely stiff in some of the shots that I've seen. For the past, I want to say maybe a day or two. So she might have something in the back of her head towards her fight with Pennington, but we will have to see on the 20th. Now with Curtis and Mike, I will say he's very confident. He did not even look away from the camera. No, sorry. He did look away from the camera a little bit, not too much, but he's very confident. He has such a serious face. I can tell this guy's ready. But other
He's
than that,
coached
Curtis,
several fighters. He's been
yeah,
around forever, and not to mention he's in his hometown. I
yeah.
the whole crowd's going to be rooting for him, so he's not worried one bit as far as that goes.
No, in all seriousness, I saw no type of other emotion besides just serious face, straight face, nothing. Absolutely just killer face. I was pretty intimidated through the screen myself. But with Curtis, he's more of like the jumpy type. He's I want to say he's more yeah, kind of like me, but just he's like, yeah, let's fucking do this. Let's do this. I'm ready to go. He talks a little fast too, which I have noticed. But other than that, he's definitely ready. He definitely saw some striking shots with him, grappling. He says he just wants a good fight. Honestly, he doesn't care as long as it's as long as it can go and as entertaining because that's what he wants. That's what Curtis wanted. He wants the audience to just be like like everywhere. Like that's the fight that he wants for this 20th. So
Okay,
we'll have to see it till
so
then.
let me ask you, who were the pros picking?
Pros. Okay. Oh, I actually have the notes here. It was, okay, so it was out of 18 people, it was 14 Strickland and it was 4 Duplessis.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
differential.
Oh yeah. 4 people voted for Duplessis and 14 for Strickland.
Good night.
Strickland is favored immensely in this fight.
Now, before we get into the more serious breakdown and stuff, we are going to show our audience a little clip of today's press conference. Let it play already. Dang on.
Proud of the motherfucker. You don't see me lose character often. This motherfucker got me there. Motherfucker ain't got me good enough. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Yeah.
Why on earth are you storming the stage of a UFC press conference? How do you think that's going to go? First off, you just showed no class. Yeah, you're excited, whatever. I do apologize for the language because I didn't realize it wasn't going to be filtered out, but whatever. Anyway, but what goes through your head? Hey, I'm going to storm this stage and security's not going to have a problem with that? Like, yeah, Strickland's crazy. He might like it, but no one else there is going to be a really big fan. Otherwise, you just have mayhem. And it kind of, from the different reports I had seen of reporters that were there and their accounts, it kind of just erupted this kind of craziness. It took a second to die down to where I'm just like, what? So in your head, you're just thinking, oh, no one's going to care if I act like a buffoon? What do you think?
Well, with that fan jumping off on the stage?
Yeah.
I mean, what was his I don't even know what his goal was. Was
His
his
goal
goal to
was to
just
shake hands with Strickland. That's what his goal was.
I mean, did
Which
it work?
it might have worked, but Strickland's been out in public, like saying, "Hey, come by here. I'll do a meet and greet. I'll
Yeah,
do whatever."
yeah.
So, why on earth was that your approach? And why on earth would you storm a stage? Imagine, let's just paint a picture here. That person starts storming towards Strickland. No one knows what's happening. Strickland could have easily reacted and just decked the dude. He's in Canada.
Could
They're not letting that go. That's not sliding. Like, you. First off, why is security tackling him? Like, one security guy pulls him down, while the other then is forced to fall on top of the dude. So now this is a bigger deal in of itself. You're delaying the press conference, and the reason that we're all watching and you're all there. From a production standpoint, it was just, oh mayhem. I've done some stupid stuff, but I'm not that brain dead. At least not as far as I know.
Yeah, people come up to Strickland in public all the time. Like I even saw in Embedded, there was a clip where someone came up to Strickland in Toronto while he was going to Bass Pro Shop to go check out some guns, and the dude was super chill with the fan. He's like, "Yeah, of course." And then they just went on with their merry day. Y'all could have just went up to him in public or even after the press conference. During it, that's crazy. You're nuts for that. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I don't get it. I don't.
I'm surprised he
And
didn't. I didn't get. I'm really surprised he didn't get clocked. I'm surprised.
Well, I think when you're that dangerous, you don't immediately react because
No,
if
no,
you
yeah.
get close, like, okay, let's go through an attack scenario because why not? Let's say the guy had a knife. If he's getting that close, every single one of those fighters is going to murder that guy on that stage. Now,
Yeah.
he would have had it coming, but I don't think that's exactly what we were hoping to see at a press conference. But when you're capable and not worried at all that if someone has to get that close to hurt you, you'll be just fine, especially with security that close, I think you just don't overreact, but that was just a dumb moment. Dumb moment. All right, so let's talk a little bit about my end of this with the detailed breakdown with Saif's. Oh, I'm going to butcher this name. Saif Sayud. I'm sorry, I butchered that. Legendary coach in the UFC and MMA world. So they talked a lot about how Strickland and Duplessis have a very aggressive fighting style. And both of them have talked about it all media week, all press conference. They don't like to lollygag. They like to sit there and bang. So, what does this create for fans, for everyone involved? Well, it creates a fun fight, assuming they actually do that. I mean, of course, there's been times where fighters have said, oh, yeah, I just want to sit there and stand and bang. And then they do absolutely nothing for 25 minutes. So, that doesn't exactly work. Now, another thing that was pointed out was Duplessis looks big for middleweight. He looks very big. Like, he looks ripped, where Sean Strickland almost has a dad bod. Now, granted, his cardio is still off the charts. I don't think anyone's going to outmatch it. But I'm just saying, the strength might be a little bit different. Duplessis could have an advantage on the ground, but neither of them really like to go there. We know they both have it. Sean Strickland is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Dricus Duplessis showed his grappling, which they noted against Darren Till at UFC 282, I believe it was. And so what they noted was that in order for this fight to go either fighter's way, there's going to have to be a sort of guessing game to an extent because, I mean, Israel Adesanya is one of the best strikers, arguably the best striker the UFC has ever had inside its octagon. And Strickland dog walked him for 25 minutes. And Strickland's style is so how do I say this? Looks like the dumbest style I've ever seen possible. His hands are down by his chest. Technically, it looks terrible from a viewer's perspective. We're thinking hands up here, normal stance, where he's like, yeah, Mendens. Well, Drickus is a little more technical, but he's also a lot more explosive. His movements have generally more power on them. Instead of going for the steady pace, it's kind of like a Michael Chandler-esque explosion combustion contest. The question is, can Duplessis do that for 5 rounds? He's never had a 5-round fight. He's never had a 5-round fight in UFC, at least. And whereas Sean Strickland has had several,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gone the distance in pretty much all of them. Like, he comparatively has way more experience in that area. However, Duplessis, ever since he got his nose fixed, which we saw in his last fight against Robert Whittaker, his cardio looked phenomenal, because that was a big critique of him early in the UFC. He had a busted up nose, and his cardio, he would gas pretty quick. He hasn't lost in the UFC yet, but he would gas pretty quick. Now we saw a whole different Duplessis in his last fight. Cardio was great. He wasn't breathing as heavy. He looked loose, ready to go. So you there's an X factor of, okay, can Duplessis do that with someone who's also not going to take a step back for 25 minutes? We know Sean can, but we don't necessarily know that about Duplessis. So how is that going to affect each other? Now, there were other things they mentioned, but another possible issue, per se, is, you've got, okay, let's think about it this way. You've got Strickland and you've got Duplessis. Both big, strong guys who are going to say, let's throw maybe at least 30 strikes around. That's my prediction. Do that for 5 rounds, 5 times 30. Sorry, I'm not a math guy. 150 for the whole fight, let's say. If each absorb about 150 strikes or throw, what are they going to look like at the end? What are they going to look like in the beginning? Are we going to see any grappling at all? Are they going to try to work in the clinch and make it a little dirty? Now, a lot of stuff I've seen is that Duplessis is probably favored in the first 2 rounds, but from 3 to 5, it should, on paper, favor Strickland. I don't necessarily have an argument to disagree with that, but there's a lot of unknowns, this being his first 5-round fight in the UFC. So basically, we're all just playing the waiting game. Now, on the other end, with the co-main event, Raquel Pennington versus Bueno Silva. I'm going to call this what this is. This is not a title fight. This is an interim title fight until the real champion comes back. I'm sorry, I said it. We already know who the next challenger is going to be. So why even call it a title fight when we know who the next fighter is going to be? Let's just call it an interim or number 1 title contender. Obviously, I know why it's not, but Juliana Pena is going to fight the winner. We already know that. She was supposed to fight Amanda Nunes last year in June. She had to pull out because she I forgot exactly what it was, messed something up, had to get surgery, whatever it was. Then Nunes has that, and I'm going to say it, phenomenal performance. Well, Aldana looked like a punching dummy out there for 25 minutes. And then she retires, basically, according to Juliana, ducking her, which you could say it, I guess, because why not? But I'm not sure that's exactly accurate. Regardless, so now Silva, in her press conferences and her interviews, has already been talking about her next fight with Juliana Pena. She's looking past Raquel. She says she's focused on Raquel, but she's looking forward to that fight with Juliana. She cannot look past her opponent. Raquel's got good boxing. She's no slouch on the ground. She has to focus on those things because if she doesn't, she could get caught. And then what? I mean, now here's the other side to that. Silva trains at the ATT, the same camp as Amanda Nunes did for 99% of her career, all but 2 fights of it. So they were probably training partners or sparring partners at some point. So, and Nunes has fought Pennington. Nunes has fought Pena. So if she goes to her friend, the bantamweight GOAT by most accounts, and I will even say it, and says, hey, what's my best strategy here? How should I do this? She gets that invaluable experience. That's great. But on the other end, Pennington's a killer. Pennington is a killer who is not going to be intimidated, who is not going to be worrying about anything else but Silva. I haven't seen as much looking ahead from her as I have from Silva. Now that worries me. However, I still give the edge to Silva.
I gotta go with Pennington, low key.
Okay, so who do you take in the main event?
Main event. Oh, because Strickland, he has that like loose fighting style. But with Duplessis, he has that like the like hard hitting, and then with his new strategy, I don't even know what his new strategy is. So it could blow us out all of the. It literally could blow us out all of the water. Like it really could. But I gotta go with Strickland though. I'm gonna go with Strickland though.
I honestly have such a hard time with this one. There's so many X factors. I knew who Dricus du Plessis was before his last fight, but I didn't know much about him or have a ton of, we'll say, gravitational pull towards him or wanting to watch him. But after he KO'd Robert Whittaker, the way he did, and the fight that was supposed to set up between him and Adesanya, that got everyone excited. And honestly, me, I was kind of like, oh boy, this could be a problem because he's got dynamite in those hands. And he's got a weird fighting style in himself. He's got this, what he calls the South African fighting style. It's different over there. It's the same thing we hear from almost everyone. Anyway, but Strickland, I mean, how do you plan to outstrike a guy who managed to outstrike Adesanya? Like, I don't know what that looks like. I can't fathom that in my head. Like, I can usually do a play-by-play of what I think will happen. I'm not so sure on this one, but I'm still going to take du Plessis. I think he's going to overwhelm Strickland, and I think he'll might be a little too quick. And I think he will be more willing to go to the grappling than Strickland will, and that could be Strickland's downfall. So for that reason, I'm rolling with Dricus du Plessis on this one. And I'm going to say it's probably going to go the distance, or it's going to be finished in round 3 or 4.
I say it's going to go to the distance because with Strickland, he's got a lot of cardio.
Yeah, but if they
his level of cardio is pretty
bang
good
the whole time at that weight class,
I highly doubt that.
I don't know. I mean, that's all Strickland ever does.
I think du Plessis wants to put him on the ground, but he's gonna have to try.
Even if he does, Sean Strickland has very good takedown defense. So that's not going to be some easy task that he can just walk through. Now, I will say this. Did you I will go with Chris Curtis in that fight. I'm going to go with Arnold Allen in the other, and I'm going to go with Michael Malott versus Neil Magny.
Oh, geez. I'm favored towards Curtis. I really do like Curtis.
I'm curious how this is going to work because, I mean, Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland are best friends. So if one of them loses, do they still celebrate, or do they, at least in the back of their heads, go, "Ah, this stinks"? Because one will lose the belt if he loses. The other will lose a fight, but he said if it's entertaining, he doesn't care, which I don't know how much I actually buy that. But regardless, I am looking forward to this card and these fights. And as always, if you go to Fight Verdict, it's the app that we use to make our picks. You can see how you match up against us and our predictions, and you'll probably lose because we're phenomenal. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you for the next card.